It makes me so sad when I talk to people who tell me that they tried CBD in the past and it didn't work for them. Not only does it make me sad because that means they're still struggling, but also because they often tell their friends and family that CBD doesn't work, which continues this line of bad information out there, causing people to write off one of the best things in nature that God has given us to help us restore balance to our bodies in this fallen world. Today, I want to address 3 reasons that you may think CBD does not work so that you can make sure that doesn't end up being your story. What's up, my friend? Welcome to the CBD and You podcast. And yes, you means you, and I believe you are here for a reason. I'm Lori, a Christian, a wife, a mama, and a midwife. And to put a little icing on the cake, my husband and I own a hemp farm in Tennessee. Girlfriend, I see it in your eyes, and I feel it in the messages you send me. You are tired of waking up every day exhausted with aches and pains that you really thought you were too young for. And with all the stress and anxiety of the day, you're over it. Are you starting to wonder if this is really all life is? I hear you, and you are not alone. God did not design us to just survive. He designed us to thrive. So if you're ready to embrace this beautiful life God has given you by discovering some of His best gifts for His children, rewarm that coffee you forgot about in the microwave, and let's take a minute to pour back into you with a quick chat and some me time. Let's go. You know, with CBD now being available just about anywhere, it's inevitable that there's going to be, number one, bad information out there, but also number two, some bad products. We live in a world where everything just seems to not be quite as good as it ought to be. Things break too early. Things don't work the way that they should. I don't know how many times that we have got some toy or something for one of our kids and it breaks before they can even ever use it because things are just not made like they used to be. We live in a world of imitation and knockoffs, and CBD is no exception. So a lot of people have been led to believe that CBD does not work, and that's simply not true. For some people, they may not have as good of results, but sometimes there is a reason for that. That's something that's easy to fix. So today I want to look at 3 reasons that you may think CBD has not worked for you, and maybe some things that you could do in the future to get better results. And before I get started, I want to refer you back yet again to episode number 8 if you haven't listened to that one, because that's the episode where I really went into how CBD works and why it works. This isn't just some synthetic drug that someone made up that may or may not have a function in your body. No, it works for everyone on some level because we have a system in our body called the endocannabinoid system that works hand in hand with these molecules. And in fact, it makes its own molecules called cannabinoids. And when you take phytocannabinoids, that's the kind that grow on the plant, it actually stimulates that system to work even better. So each of us has this system in our bodies, but just like many other systems that we have, there are insults and things that come to it that cause it not to work optimally. Just like, some people's lungs don't work as well as others. Some people's heart doesn't work as well as others. It's the same with the endocannabinoid system. So our goal is to help get that system working optimally. When it isn't working optimally, that's when you have different outcomes and different results. So today, I want to look at these 3 reasons why you may think that CBD, which is cannabidiol, hasn't worked for you. The first reason is that what the bottle said was in it might not have actually been in it. So this has nothing to do with your system per se, and it has everything to do with the honesty or perhaps just the practices of the company that has made the product. Regulation is non-existent when it comes to the CBD industry, and that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. On the good side, because there is no regulation, the barrier to entry for little guys like us is a little bit lower. It makes it easier to start a business. There's not quite as much red tape that you have to cut through to be able to offer a product to the market. But on the downside, that means that anybody can put anything out there, right? and they can claim that it's anything they want to. So if you don't have a company that has honesty and integrity, that's going to obviously present a problem. You basically have to trust the company and believe that what they said is in the bottle is there. But if they don't have test results available, really on every single bottle, which is just not feasible, you just can't really know. It is also possible that the CBD that they make, maybe what they think is in there or have claimed is in there, really is there when they first make it. But it's possible that they make it in such large batches that it's not evenly distributed, so that what they thought was in the bottle isn't actually there. Maybe one bottle has a whole lot more and another bottle has a whole lot less. That's one of the reasons why we at Alara Ridge Farm make our CBD oil in very small batches, so that we can ensure that the cannabinoids are evenly distributed throughout the liquid, so that you get the same thing from one bottle to another. So many fly-by-night companies popped up when hemp was legalized back in 2018. Seems like everywhere you go now, you can find CBD. And I know it may seem, when you're listening to this, especially if you're new here, like we're just another one of those fly-by-night companies, but we've actually been around 4 years now, and all you need to do is to go take a look at our reviews on our website to see for yourself that our product is effective. It works, and it works well, and it's because it is pure. It is from our field. We grow it ourselves. It has only high quality, organically produced ingredients, and it really has in the bottle what says is there in the milligrams that we say are there. It's helping people all over the place, all over the country, and the reviews show that. So I invite you to go check that out. If you haven't been to our website, it's just shop.alararidgefarm.com. That's ALARA Ridge Farm, all one word, .com. Once you go into the products, the different products have the reviews down at the bottom, and you can go check them all out. See it for yourself. Okay, so number 2. We hit number 1, that maybe what says is in the bottle, the bottle says is in there isn't actually there. Number 2, it's possible that you weren't taking enough. And in fact, I think that's probably the most common reason. I don't know how many people come up to me and they tell me that they were taking a drop, maybe 2 drops, and it just didn't work. Well, a drop or 2 drops is not very much at all. Depending on the concentration of the product, it could be as low as 1/4 milligram in that 1 drop, or as much as 3 milligrams. It just depends on the concentration. But either way, even if it's on the higher end, that is just not enough for most adults. The average effective dose is around 15 milligrams. So you can see that 1 drop, no matter the concentration, is nowhere near what you actually need to get results. For a 1,000 milligram product, which is the lowest product that we offer, to get the 15 milligram average recommended dose, you're going to need 9 to 10 drops to get that much, not just 1 or 2. And if you took all of your dose in just 1 dose a day, that could also be why it didn't work, because CBD actually has a pretty short half-life. And if you don't remember back from your science class in school, half-life is how long it takes your body to metabolize half of that product to where it gets down to half of what you started with. So because it has that short half-life, it will run out before you take your next dose 24 hours later. And so you might not get those same results because you're not getting your receptors saturated the way they need to be for your endocannabinoid system to work at its optimum. You may, in fact, you probably will need to take CBD at least twice a day to have best results, or maybe even 3 times a day, depending on what you've got going on. The only indication that it's really going to work fairly well for taking it only once a day is for sleep, because if you're only taking it for sleep, then you only need it to have effects during that small window of time. So what you got to do is you have to figure out what your dose is. And when you order from us, I send you instructions to figure that out so that you can kind of hone in on exactly how much you need. And then if you find at the end of your dosing time, so let's say you're taking it every 12 hours, and let's say at about maybe the 8th hour or the 9th hour, you're starting to have those symptoms break back through, what you're probably going to need to do is go ahead and take the same total dose, So if you're taking 15 milligrams in the morning and you're taking 15 milligrams in the evening, that gives you 30 milligrams total for your whole day. And instead of taking it in those 2 doses, split it up into 3 doses. So then you would be taking 10 milligrams in the morning, and then 8 hours later, 10 more milligrams, and then 8 hours later, 10 more milligrams. And that way you don't have those breakthrough symptoms. So those are going to be your 2 main things for this second point to make sure that you're getting enough, that your dose is high enough, and that you're taking it more than once a day. If you want to learn a little bit more about dosing frequency and why you need to take it more frequently, go back and listen to episode 11 where I dig into that a little bit more. Now, our last reason that you might think that CBD did not work is that the product you were using might not have been full spectrum. Back in episode 28, I went into the differences between full spectrum and other products like broad spectrum and CBD isolate products. And I get that a lot of people end up using broad spectrum or CBD isolate products because maybe their job has drug test requirements, and I understand that. But the truth is that those products just don't work as well. The THC, even in its small amount that's inside of the CBD oil, the full spectrum CBD oil, is part of what's called the entourage effect. And it's kind of like building blocks. They build on top of each other, and it makes all the cannabinoids in the product work better when everything is there in its naturally occurring ratios. When you take it out, you will need more of the other cannabinoids to get the same result. So depending on what you're trying to get help with, if THC is the most effective cannabinoid for that thing, you might not ever get the same results. Even if you add extras of the other, you're just never going to get as good a results as you would get if you're using a full spectrum product. You simply need all of the cannabinoids in there to get the best results. Now, that being said, it doesn't have to be present in quantities that produce psychoactive effects or that high effect like you get with marijuana. It doesn't have to be in very high amounts at all. But in small amounts, THC is yet another of those beneficial compounds on the hemp plant that bring us all kinds of health benefits. So, the 3 reasons why you may think CBD didn't work, or somebody may have told you that it didn't work for them. 3 reasons it could cause that. Number 1, what they said was in the bottle really wasn't. Number 2, they weren't taking enough. And number 3, it wasn't full spectrum. I hope that's answered some questions for you, but if it's prompted some new questions, maybe you're like, okay, yes, but I've got this other question now. I'd love for you to go down to the show notes. The number 2 point down there, it says, got episode ideas or questions you want answered on the show, leave a voicemail here. If you'll click on that link at speakpipe.com/CBDNU, that is kind of like a voicemail box. And if you'll go click on that, you can tell me what your questions are, and I'll be sure to do an episode about those things in the future. If you're ready to give good quality CBD that has excellent ratings a try, if you've maybe had bad experiences in the past and you're ready to use something that is going to make a difference for you or will help you bring balance to your life that you're looking for, I'd love for you to go take advantage of our sale at bit.ly/CBD and you show. That's bit.ly/CBDandYOUSHOW. When you go to that link, it's going to take you to the cart, so it goes ahead and adds that promo code for you. Then click shop above there and go add anything you want to your cart, and that code is going to take 20% off of everything. No limits. So go load up, stock up, give it a try, and I can't wait to see you back here next week. Whoa, wait, stop. I need your help. Before you take off, if this podcast has blessed you in any way, or if you learned something, could you take 1 minute and leave me a written review over on Apple Podcasts? That's the absolute best way you can thank me. I love hearing how what I've learned on my journey has helped you on yours. Remember that the word says every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. CBD is one of them, but there are so many more. Cling to him and you will never go wrong. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you back here in a few days.